Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about Amzu Swarm's Hunger. For 3 colors, 1 black and 1 green, it's a legendary creature, Insect Shaman, 3/3 with flying, menace, other insects you control have menace, and whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you may create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among those cards. Do this only once each turn. So this is a really interesting and unique ability which we haven't seen that often. However, it's been proven to be quite powerful when it has appeared in the past. So an example of a card that's doing something similar to this, although of course much stronger, is Sir Conrad the Grim, which is going to be triggering when creature cards leave your graveyard, as well as when they get put into there, of course, which makes a pretty big difference. However, this has got quite a few cool things going for it, and Golgari is definitely very interested in abusing the graveyard, so this seems like it certainly has a lot of build-around potential. For starters, it's pretty tough to block this, so if you wanted to, you could just pile counters on it and go for commander kills, because flying a menace is quite a pain to deal with. And giving all of the insects you're going to be making a menace is also very good, particularly if you decide to go a bit of a more tribal route and go heavier on insects, although you absolutely don't have to because it fuels itself with the final ability. And that final ability is really the meat of the card. It's going to give you tokens over and over. However, it is only going to give you 1 token per turn, so that's not that much, but still there's a lot that you can do to mess around with this ability. So one of the easiest things you can do is just return cards to your hand. Something like Grapple with the Past, for example, works very nicely. It's going to mill 3 cards, and then you can return a creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand, and if you return something big, you can make an absolutely monstrous insect with menace. There's so many cards like this that are going to mill and then return creatures or other cards to your hand. You can even have it on land, such as with Takenuma Abandoned Maya, which is really nice. Something as simple and as played as Eternal Witness or Bala Ged Recovery works very nicely with this card as well. So there are a ton of ways to fuel these abilities. Personally, I love Deadbridge Chant from back in the day. It's one of my favorite cards, so that would be something I'd consider including in this deck as well as a way to repeatedly do this. But there are a ton of ways to trigger this ability by returning stuff from your graveyard. However, it's not the only way to trigger this ability. This works really well with basically all of Golgari's old mechanics. It obviously works very well with Dredge, because if you dredge, you get to put the card back from your graveyard into your hand, which counts as it leaving your graveyard. Scavenge is another of the old Golgari abilities that also works very well with this, since you're exiling a creature card from your graveyard. And of course, one of the new mechanics from Call of Mana is very good with this, which is Collect Evidence. This works so nicely with all of those cards that are going to allow you to exile stuff from your graveyard in order to collect evidence, and that seems like a good place to start when you're thinking about uses for this card. So with all of those different options, I can kind of see why they had to have this trigger only once per turn. You can make very big creatures with this, particularly if you mill something huge like the Great Henge and then return it to your hand. Suddenly you're going to get an absolute massive token out of nowhere. That's why I feel like this card has a lot of potential and it should be fairly easy to build around, and it's also probably why this card costs almost $15 at the moment, although that's certainly partly to do with how little the set has been open. In any case, very interesting card and one that I do look forward to building a deck around. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think about this card? Please let me know in the comment section below. I read all comments and respond to all of them too. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel. And until next time, take care.